Well, hello there, and welcome to the break room. Listen, we got the question for you today. The question of the day, or the two questions of the day. The first one is: have you lost the happy feelings that nursing used to bring you? Have you lost the happy feelings? Or have you become so annoyed with just the thought of your job? It's okay. It's okay. You're in the right place. You're in the right place. And we're going to talk about how we can resuscitate our passion as a multi passionate nurse. So, again, welcome to the break room. I'm so glad that you're here. And this is your self care safe space so that you can recharge and refresh so that you can return to your task at hand. It's like our virtual break room, when you're at work and you have a break room and everybody comes in. That's what this is for us. It's our virtual break room to have conversation, right? And so I'm so glad again that you're here. And I am Deetra Dennis. I am the self care coach for nurses. And I empower multi passionate nurses to prioritize the care of their MVP. And I'm going to make it personal. You are your MVP. You are your most valuable patient. And the reason for prioritizing that care is so that you can show up as the best version of yourself and impact the well-being of those connected to you. So again, I'm so glad that you're here. If you are tuning in on YouTube, I invite you to subscribe to the channel and click on the notification bell so you're alerted when I post a video or go live or post in the community. And for everyone, YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn, I invite you as well to like the video and share with someone who you feel could benefit from the conversations that we have here in the break room. So again, going back to resuscitating, let me say it right. Resuscitate your passion as a multi-passionate nurse. And when in the nursing profession with direct care in the hospital setting, we call a code. Some places call it a code blue, some places call it a code pink, but it's a code nonetheless. And that code is usually called when a person has lost consciousness or if they're in cardiac arrest. But if I can, just step a little bit and call a code right now in order to resuscitate our passion for nursing, to revive, to awaken to consciousness, or to bring back to life our passion as a multi-passionate nurse. And I get it. I know that we're pulled in several directions as a multi-passionate nurse because we are being everything to everybody, right? We are, the nurse in our career. And what makes a multi-passionate nurse different is that we understand our calling. Yes, we are a nurse in our career, but we are also that nursing doesn't stop there. It goes into the community. It goes into those with whom we're connected. That could be our family, our friends, and our church family. Many of us, as multi-passionate nurses, are the health ministry leader, or as I mentioned to you before, I have my certification as a parish nurse. So we are stretched thin. And many times we get to a point where we're doing things out of routine or going through the motion or being like a robot or being on a hamster wheel. We talked about this in the video, signs that you're stuck in autopilot, right? And so when we are in that autopilot, if you will, or going through the motion, we are unconscious. We have lost consciousness, and we're not fully present in that. And as a result of that, in the other video that comes to mind, when we talked about this is how we do it as a multi-passionate nurse. And again, we talked about that, just doing all of the things. But what happens when we are doing that it impacts our presence. We're to bring the light when we walk into the room, when we're walking in the presence of someone. Our presence should precede us with the love and joy radiating from us, right? When we're in that autopilot or unconscious, it impacts our presence, but it also impacts us being present, being fully there, right? With whoever we're serving. And lastly, it impacts our power. Listen, we know the power that is within us, right? And so when we're in that unconscious state, it causes us to be, going through the motion, and we may lose that passion. But I tell you what, over here on this channel, what we're going to say is that self-care is how we're going to resuscitate our passion as a multi-passionate nurse. So I want to share when we are revived, when we are awakened, when we have that reigniting, if you will, of our passion. These are the things that will happen. Number one, we have more patience. Listen, when we haven't had sleep and we haven't had the proper nourishment, we respond a little different. Doesn't matter how sweet and nice you are. And I feel that I'm a sweet and nice person. But baby, if I haven't had enough sleep, and in combination with not being nourished properly, that's not a good combination for anybody, for me and nobody else, right? Who I encounter. It is not a good combination. So when you resuscitate your passion, you have more patience. Okay. Number two, you have more energy. We already said we're doing all of the things. So it's imperative that we have high energy so that we can serve from our heart at the highest level. And so when you have resuscitated your passion, you will have a lot of energy. Okay. And lastly, this one probably could just stand alone of what happens when you resuscitate your passion. What will happen? You're reminded of why you do what you do, right? Why you became a nurse, why you accepted the calling that extends beyond your career. Because as a multi-passionate nurse, you are a pillar in your community. You are a pillar in your family, with your friends, and your church family, because they will come to you whenever there is a health concern. They are coming to you for the answers. And so when you resuscitate your passion as a multi-passionate nurse, you will be reminded of why you do what you do. And it will reignite that fire. You will regain your hope, right? And strength, and that passion, and that love, and that joy for why you do what you do. And so, with going back to the beginning, when I asked the question, have you lost your happy feelings? And I have to say it, self-care, yes, is how we can get those happy feelings. But a song comes to mind, and it is from Maze featuring Frankie Beverly. And it is Happy Feelings, right? And the song, it talks about happy feelings in the air, touching people everywhere. And that is what will happen when you resuscitate your passion, or our passion as a multi-passionate nurse. That happiness, that love, that joy will exude or radiate from you to others, and it is contagious. So that is how you touch people everywhere. So I am so happy again that you're here today for this conversation. And I'm also excited to remind you that our 5-day, the inaugural 5-day Nurse Self-Care Challenge will take place during Nurses Week. And registration will open next week. So we'll talk about, again, a little more in detail. I give you a little bit each week. So next week, I'll give you a little more details about what to expect during the 5-day Nurse Self-Care Challenge. So in the meantime, in the between time, I would love to hear from you in the comments and share how have you used self-care to resuscitate your passion as a multi-passionate nurse. And so, again, I want to remind you as well to like the video and share this with someone else who would find value just like you have in what we've talked about today. So, I have a quote for us. So the quote today, listen in, lean in on this one. Self-care will nurture and revive your soul and your spirit. It also resuscitates your passion and keeps you going when the going gets tough. Because listen, we know how demanding nursing can be on all levels, right? And so having that self-care to nurture your soul and your spirit, as well as to resuscitate your passion, listen, we can keep going on. Listen, as we're talking now, the song that comes to mind, it's not a hymn, but I guess a praise song. I feel like going on. You can feel like going on when you do that. So I'm going to read the quote one more time. All right. Hang in there with me. Self-care will nurture and revive your soul and your spirit. It also resuscitates your passion and keeps you going when the going gets tough. So I really appreciate you hanging out with me more than you know. And I wish you happy feelings, and I will see you on next week.